To discuss athletes and activism, we now welcome in Willie Banks, a two-time Olympian triple jumper whose best shot at a gold medal got wiped out by the U.S. boycott at the Moscow Games, and now the president of the U.S. Olympians Association. Holly Swyers, a Ph.D. in anthropology who teaches, among other classes, the anthropology of sports at Lake Forest College in Chicago. And Dave Zirin, author and sports editor of The Nation magazine. Dave, what do you expect American NBA players to actually do at the Olympics?
Well, first of all, I expect Jerry Colangelo and Coach Mike Krzyzewski to try to carefully stage manage the situation. Coach Krzyzewski has said explicitly that politics have no place at the Olympics and athletics have no place connected with politics. But that being said, I think we could be in for some surprises. We heard about Kobe Bryant and the PSA he's done. We've heard about LeBron James is now starting to say something about Darfur. And I'll tell you something, when Kobe was having his legal trouble in 2005, he took to wearing a Muhammad Ali t-shirt. LeBron James, in an interview with ESPN, said his goal in life was to be a global icon like Muhammad Ali. So we could be in for some surprises. They're setting the bar high for themselves.
Willie, as the president of the U.S. Olympians Association, you are meeting with the athletes who are going to compete in Beijing. What are you telling them about activism and protests?
Well, each of the athletes have to be on they have their own individual say on what they want, what they're going to say about political activities. But we really would like to make sure that they understand that the Olympic Games is for them to compete, to do the best they can for the U.S. and to make themselves heroes to the community back in home.
Holly, why are athletes today so reluctant to speak up?
I think there's a couple different things to look at here. One is, of course, the earnings potential question. And you think about it, an athlete gets to be my age and they're old. You know, they don't have a long career, a long time in a career in order to develop their earnings potential. So, of course, they're going to be concerned about that. They don't have as many opportunities as someone in another field might have. But another piece of the puzzle, if you think about, we're living in a post-9/11, post-Columbine world, and that's the age in which these athletes came of age. And they've been taught conflict resolution, walk a mile in another person's shoes before you make a decision or make a claim or make any sort of statement on something. So I think it's interesting that LeBron James, for example, says, I wanted to find out more before I took a stand. I think that's going to be more and more common among people of this age group.
And there's certainly a difference between what's at stake for superstars versus unknown amateurs. But either way, Dave, who cares what an athlete says about Darfur or Tibet?
Well, the thing is, it's deeply interwoven in the American fabric. I mean, there's a reason why we associate the early years of the civil rights movement with Jackie Robinson, or Muhammad Ali with the struggle against the war in Vietnam, or Billie Jean King with the women's rights movement. We've seen repeatedly throughout history the way politics can ricochet into the field of athletics with absolutely electric results. And because of that, in times when there is a lot of dissatisfaction, like in this country right now, people look to athletes. People look to people with cultural capital who actually have a platform. Even if it is a hyper-exalted, unhealthy, brought to you by Nike platform, they want to hear what athletes have to say.
Willie, what does it matter?
Well, here's the thing that I think we're missing is that it's not necessarily the people, the community looking at the athletes and wanting them to be heroes. I think the fact that the media follows our athletes and then tries to make them politically active, that's what I think is causing the rift that we're looking at today. Many of the athletes have a particular charity or something that they really feel strongly about, but when they're trying to be the best they can be, trying to be an Olympic gold medalist, they have to focus on the training. And so it's very difficult for them to get involved in an activity outside. Once they retire, you'll see a lot of Olympians jumping and doing things.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Sure.
Because I think it's actually the opposite as Willie. A lot of athletes have attempted to speak out politically in recent years, and the ones I talk to, they think they hit an absolute iron wall when it comes to the media, that the media doesn't want to hear what they have to say. I mean, even a short list of athletes who've come out against the war in Iraq is pretty impressive in the NBA. Steve Nash, Eton Thomas, Adonal Foyle, Josh Howard, Nick Van Exel. But there's no effort to try to consolidate and listen to what athletes think. There's way too much shut up and play, you signed a contract, you're just here to play, we don't want to hear it.
Holly, you teach college students every day. What do they say about what athletes say?
Well, I hear two different perspectives. One of the things that I hear a lot from my students is sports are supposed to be an escape. So there's a lot of resentment of when politics get brought into sports for that reason. At the same time, though, I hear them speaking very highly of Muhammad Ali and Tommy Smith and John Carlos. And what I see them understanding is sports is where we teach values, and it makes it a very potent field for making a political statement. And we teach kids from a very young age the ideas of a level playing field, playing fair in sports. So when things start happening, rippling in sports, it threatens the status quo in a lot of ways more than in other arenas. And so people are paying really close attention to sports, and it gets a little scary when sports get involved, and I think that's where we get that shut up and play attitude.
And Willie, you were the one who was personally affected by the crossing paths of politics and sports. How did that impact your life in 1980?
Well, I think that's part of it. I want to go back to the other gentleman's statement. Athletes will get involved, but it's just like we're a community, and maybe 5% of that community are very politically active, and they want to speak out, and that's what happens in every community, and that's same in sports. Now, in 1980, I went crazy. I mean, I was protesting, I was picketing Carter's campaign headquarters because I wanted to go to the Olympic Games, and I wanted to compete because that was my shot to be a famous athlete, and so I wanted to do that. It's something that's, when it's personal like that, you will get involved. If it's something happening outside your universe, it's tough to really get emotional and get involved in something like that with your whole heart.
Holly, what should the Olympics be?
Oh, that's a tough question. They always have been political. They've been political from the get-go. They originally started as an avenue to sort of think about world peace. And that always brings people into conflict and leads to questions about what does it mean, whose peace are we having? And I think we see that same question emerging right now with Beijing. Whose rules are we following? What are the rules of fair play and equal opportunity that we regard as sort of the rule of the world that we want the world to live by? And I think that question is what we're deciding in the course of something like the Olympics.
Dave, last question to you.
It's a two-sided sword.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's a two-sided sword because you can say don't put it in Beijing because there's problems with their human rights, but then you can say let's put it in Beijing so that we can bring attention.
We've got 5 seconds left. Dave, last word to you.
Yeah,
5 seconds.
if we don't want athletes to be political, we should just watch Rock'em Sock'em Robots or old games on ESPN Classic. These are human beings.
Complicated issues. They demand serious discussion, and we appreciate the three of you joining us for this discussion. Willie Banks, Dr. Holly Swyers, and Dave Zirin. Thank you for your time on Outside the Lines.
Thank you.
Next, it is your turn. We seek outside opinion. 1 week after OTL reported O.J. Mayo got paid while playing high school and college basketball.